team, when you watch them on tape, they've played in a lot of high-scoring games, believe it or not. They've actually scored 128 points thus far in 4 games. Very competitive football team. Do a nice job of explosive plays, 30 plays of 20 yards or more. They've got some players on defense that play hard into the whistle. They have some offensive players that can make some plays for them as well. So they're a team that always seems to be in the game. They play hard for their coach, and it's another Pac-12 game. We haven't won a Pac-12 game yet. We're 0-1 right now, and we got a home game. We've played 2 good games at home. Can't seem to find the formula yet on the road, but this is an important game for us because it is a Pac-12 game as well. Yes, sir. Oh. I'm sorry.
Herm, I heard you say earlier today that you felt that the team did not handle success maybe that well after the Michigan State game, and you also said that, basically you insinuated that the inexperience of this team maybe is showing in some of the mistakes, especially against Washington.
Well, I think the games that we have fell victim to not winning, you got to give the teams credit too that beat us. But I think more than any is most games are lost rather than won, and a lot of it has to do with you just not doing things correctly in certain situations. And as a coach, you always look at those deals. You know, the object of football is to be excellent, and that's what you strive to do. But that's impossible, as we all know it, as we've been in this game long enough. But I think there's certain errors in games that when you make them, you don't get a second chance. You just don't against good teams. You know, we made some of those errors in the opening game, and we were able to overcome them. Against Michigan State, we made a few, but we hung in there and we overcome them. Last 2 weeks, not so much. And I think as we go forward, as we learn from this, hopefully that'll bring us to a point to where we understand you never know the play of the game that's going to change the game or give you an advantage. You don't know that. That's what's great about the game of football. You play 70 snaps, 80 snaps, whatever it may be. There's always a couple plays that define some things in the course of a series, whether you get off the field, whether you extend the drive. All those things play a part in it. So I think that there's moments in last week's game that you look back and you reflect and you go, you know, if we get off the field twice on 3rd down, they probably punt, and maybe they don't score. Okay, now I'm just saying, I'm playing the game like fans, right? Because that's what fans say. Well, if you're going to make this play, but there's something to that. And I just think momentum in football is important, but also when you have the ability to defensively keep people in a hole, you don't let them out. And once they get out, then it's like, what's going to happen at the end of the series, right? And so all those things are a part of it. Same way with offense, when you're marching on a drive and you feel like we got some momentum, and then you fumble the ball. Well, against a good team, you're not going to get too many second chances at that stuff, you know. And those are the things that I think the 2 games that we've lost, we let some things get away. That's all.
Herm, you've talked about finding the right synergy between offense and defense. And this game was both teams in the 60s in terms of total plays. And you changed sort of your philosophy with the run game. Are you starting to get a sense of how this team is going to have to play to win games, or was that specific to Washington as far as the style? Well,
I do believe this, and I said this when I first took this job. Good defense and a running game travels. You got to be able to do that. And I think to help our offense, we have to have the ability to run the football. You have to play complementary football. And right now we have a young defense. And at times it plays good, and at times not so much. It makes errors. And so what do you do to help them? You take time off the clock, and you stay on the field a little bit longer. And I just like the sense of when you can run the ball consistently. To me, those are tough football teams. It's just tough because now you become multi-dimensional. Do we run it? Do we pass it? We kind of can dictate the terms of how we want the game played. If we have a two-score lead or something like that, you can still play offense, take time off the clock by running the football. You don't have to throw it as much, right? And so I just think that that's what we're going to become. I just think you figure it out after a while. You say, hey, look, we're going to be much better served going forward. And this is always about going forward, never about going back. It's about going forward, what we want to become on offense, defense, as well as special teams. So I just think that it's a process, and I think the more I learn this team and the more I learn the players, I think we have to continue to develop things going forward, going down the road. And running the ball is going to be part of it.
Just piggybacking off that, Herm, what's the balance of running the ball, establishing the run, and also getting Nikhil, who's probably the best talent on the field, involved more?
Yeah, and, that was one of those games where here I go back to saying this. You have opportunities, and they get away, whether it's an errant pass, whether it's the drop pass. All these things become a part of the process of the game. And you're right, we got to get Nikhil the ball. With that being said, the windows aren't as open against that defense as they are other defenses. And so you realize that there's a reason these guys are 10th in the country. They play pretty good defense, by the way. And so the windows are not as large. There's tight fits in there, and all those things become a part of it. But Nikhil is always in our plans every week, and we do our best to try to get him the ball. We move him around, and we're smart enough to move him around. He's not going to be in one spot, so you got to figure out where he's at. And sometimes the reads, when you go back to throw, they're doubling him or something, and you can't throw it to him. You got to throw it to somebody else. I said this when I got here as well. I said, the thing that I learned about this offense, we didn't throw to the backs. Well, the backs are a big part of the passing game now. They have to be. Because, only 35 catches for running backs. You don't do that. You can't function that way. You got to get the backs involved in the offense in the passing game. And so, all of a sudden, going into this game, Nikhil had 4 less catches, more yards, and more touchdowns than he did in the first 3 games. Now, some people don't recognize that, but that's the truth. Go look at the numbers. He had 4 less catches, but the yards were better, and he had 4 touchdowns and only had 2 prior to this game. So as much as we want to get him the ball, we're getting him the ball. We're going to get him the ball as much as we can. But I know the numbers, and I sit every week, and I look at things, and I go, okay, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to get this person the ball, that person the ball, and I just think it's hard to do that as well as when you don't have a lot of plays, and I realize that. And some of it is to our own doing. When you go 3 and outs, it's not good. A week prior to that, we had a quarter where we went 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, and the whole quarter was gone. You don't get in the ball. No one's going to get the ball on offense. Quarterback hardly touches the ball. When you go 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, you just sit there and you go, oh, that's not a good series, boys. That's not a good quarter. And so offense is about possessing the ball, and to me, it's about making plays and making first downs. I'm a big believer. Every time you make a first down on offense, that takes about 4 minutes off the clock. The defense sits and watch you. We cheer for you, and you get 3 more plays. And if you keep doing that, eventually you'll matriculate the ball down the field, as some great coach said, and you'll score.
Coach, after Chase Lucas's interception, he went down and started doing curls with a curl bar.
Yeah, I saw that.
Is that a new thing?
I don't know. I was like, what is this? I didn't even bring that on the plane. I didn't get that one. I'm so busy doing other stuff, and I saw that. I'm like you. I was like, what are we doing here? I got to ask the weight coach about that one. That must be – I know Miami has the chain deal, and some other teams do some other things. That was a new one. I don't know. I just looked and went, what are we doing? I didn't know what to think. I was too busy. After the interception, I'm on the phone talking to the offensive guy, and I'm going, excuse me, I'm watching Chase do curls. And I said, but let's talk about the series now because we're trying to score a touchdown. Literally, I saw it, and I went, and I told Likens, I said, Coach, 1 second, Chase is doing curls. And he said, what? And I said, oh, don't worry about it. And I got back to him because it was like, so I don't know. I got to ask the weight coach about that one. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm going to see him after I get out of here about that.
Herm, your team has just gone through a stretch of 3 games against very, very good opponents. Now you face a game where your team will probably be a heavy favorite. Does that present this group of kids with a challenge in terms of the right mental frame of mind?
Well, I think so, and this is a big week for us. The Pac-12 competition has begun. We've already lost one of them. We got 8 games left, and this is a home game, and I think we need to get off to a fast start and play. And if we play with energy like we did against Washington, I think things will work out. But we have to play. This team is going to come in here and play hard. I mean, Oregon State, every game you watch it, they play hard. They're a very competitive group. But our team needs to get off to a fast start at home. It really does. We need to win a game. We've lost 2 now. We need to find a way to win a football game again.
What would be your overall evaluation now, third of the way through the season?
I like our offensive line, especially this week, the changes, and I thought what we did offensively was something that we can continue to build on. I think the offense has been, in spurts, very explosive offense. I'm hoping now the running game will take it to another dimension. Defensively, after the first game, we really haven't put a series of quarters together as a defense. We've had some poor quarters, but here again we find a way to keep the game within reach defensively. Like I said, we have a bunch of young guys playing, and we've made some errors. We didn't tackle especially well this week. We missed some tackles we have to make that are critical to make. Special teams wise, the kickoff return had a little bit of a awakening, right? I mean, we actually got the ball past the 10-yard line. It was like, wow, we really did that. And we learned how to fair catch the ball. That was good, too. I mean, we learned something. That took 3 weeks, but we finally learned that. And punt returns are still kind of in the air. I mean, Nikhil makes a great play. I mean, he feels a punt on the 5, and I'm going, he didn't do that. Yeah, he did. And next thing I know, he was running toward me. 50-yard game, but that's Nikhil, great player. And great players have the ability to do that. But the kickers have been really good. I think our field goal kicker has been excellent. The punter has been excellent as well. So that's what we know so far. We'll continue to build. I think we have to get better on offense and defense in the second and third quarters. We're not. For some reason, there's something there that I can't figure it out yet. Just look at us points-wise and points scored and points allowed. In those second, third quarter, I don't know. Fourth quarter, good. Fourth quarter, pretty good. I mean, we find a way to put points on the board. We find a way to do things in the fourth quarter, but the second and the third quarter are puzzling. I haven't figured that out yet.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about the practices that you're having with the scout team and
the developmental guys?
Yeah, where you're kind of teaching them the system. Why is it so important that you have kind of a hands-on role in that, and is it nice to be able to just kind of get away from it, the weekly grind of just watching tape and preparing?
You make a great point. The last 2 weeks, because due to the time we got home, that's kind of my second wake-up call, because, I don't go home. I got here and started putting on the tape and watched the tape, and then started watching Oregon State, so I was kind of glad I got to go over to the bubble and coach the young guys. And it's fun for me because you watch guys from the first time we've done it to now after a month, and they're starting to get into it. There's a lot of competition over there, and you see guys getting better, and that's important. College football is about development as people in the classroom, as development as men, and development as football players. So there's 3 phases to it, and I enjoy doing that. I do, because it's hands-on. I get to meet these guys. I talk to them. And you watch guys, they get better. I mean, they're more confident now. And I think it helps you when you get into the spring, because now they've been in the system where they actually learn the system. They're not just playing the cards. They're not playing the opponent every week anymore. And it puts an onus on them, too. You think about it. If you don't do that with guys that don't play, think about it this way. Guys practice on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So if you don't travel and you don't play, you're off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. That's a pretty good gig if you can get it. No, they're football players. You know, come on over here. Get you know, guys. When you have that many days off, you get out of shape playing football. You just get out of shape mentally. You're off more than you're actually participating in football when it's football season. So for me, is it a thing that most people don't do? Does it put the limit on your clock as a coach? You have to put more time in it? Yes. But when I took this job, I was fully committed to this. This is not a hobby. This is my job. And how can I make players better? Well, that's part of how you make them better. And it's some time that I enjoy going out there and coaching guys. Yeah.
Can you give us a window into the conversations that precipitated the change to the gap scheme running? Like after that San Diego State game, did you talk to, was it Likens and Christensen that brought it to you, or how did that whole thing come about? And also in retrospect, do you think that you should have been doing some of that stuff earlier?
Well, you can say that, but we were 2-0, pretty good. I mean, I don't know. We ran the ball against Michigan State pretty good when we ran it. You know, it's just, you know, I just think that coming in, look, I'm not naive. You come in, you have a system that's already built offensively. Why? Because the quarterback's here. And I didn't want to stray away from that. You got a talented quarterback. You got one of the most talented receivers in the conference, and you go, well, I'm not going to try to change everything. Now, defensively, it was a whole different. It was part of the new coaching staff said, we're going to change defense. This is a defense I want to play, because I think in the long run, when we build it, it'll really be fun to watch it play. I just got that funny feeling. Now, we're not there yet, but we're going to try, and, you know, we'll get that figured out too. But offensively, I said I'll let it roll, knowing that we're eventually going to get to looking like this a little bit more. So I just think now we've got an 8-game season. We got to continue to do that, because whoever plays quarterback here next year, guess what? He's going to play in that system. And it'll be a system where we can spread them out and throw it as much as we want, but it also has to be a system that when we want to go pound you, we can go do that too. So I just think that's how we're going to look offensively going forward. Yeah, it was on when the coaches got in here. They got in here that Sunday around 11 or 12. I didn't go home, and so when I didn't go home, I think my wife was the first one to know that something was about to happen. And coaches came in. I said, "Here's the deal," and we said, "Coach, we got you." I said, "All right, let's go to work. Let's find a way to get it done." And we got great coaches, and they got it done. You know, with Dave and Coach Likens, they said, "Let's do it, Coach." I said, "Okay, let's start practicing it, and you know, let's move some guys around." And obviously, we changed it. And look, it takes players to buy into that. It takes coaches to buy into that. And I think at the end, it'll help us. It'll help us in the long run for the program of what our offense wants to look like. And I just think that, you know, you have to do things sometimes as a head coach, and sometimes people are uncomfortable, but I make people uncomfortable. It's okay. That's just how I work. And I do it in a way where it's never, you know, pointing a finger or being just, I try to make good suggestions. I'll say it like that, right? I just make suggestions, that's all.
Hey, Herm. Austin Burnett with Blaze Radio. So Manny Wilkins didn't go off like he had
previous weeks.
But as an incredible competitor that Manny is, how do you think he handled the game?
I thought he did a good job, because he knew going in, and our receivers knew going in, it's going to be hard to hit, you know, big explosive plays on these guys because of how they play and the style of defense they play. So we had to be very accurate with the ball. I thought Manny understood. And Manny's fine. Manny just wants to win. Nikhil the same way. Nikhil, you know, he walks with you on the sideline and said, "Coach," because I talked to both those guys after every series. "Coach, I'm good." He said, "I just want to win, Coach." And I said, "I know." I said, "I get you." I said, I want you to know. He's, "Coach, you'll get me. I'll get the ball. I ain't worried about it." I said, "Okay, as long as you're good. I just want you to know we're going to get you the ball." But we were running it at 4 yards a clip. And I'm going, That's a good clip, guys, because that puts you in a lot of third and shorts, and so we can continue to move the ball, and then we got bogged down a little bit, and we got behind the chains against them, and it's a good defense, but I think the players bought into what we were trying to do to win that game up there. We knew it was going to be a tight game. We wanted to get it to the fourth quarter, and lo and behold, it was in the fourth quarter. We got it to the fourth quarter, so the plan was kind of, and we were all excited about it. Because we were in the fourth quarter now, and the players knew it at halftime. Say, we're going to get it to the fourth quarter, guys. It's going to be that kind of game where it's going to be similar to Michigan State. It's going to be possessions. How many possessions do you get in the fourth quarter? What do you do with the possessions? And it just didn't work out for us.
Coach?
Sir.
You were high on Isaiah Floyd to start out the season, and but then obviously Traylon Smith got a good bulk of carries against Washington. What kind of happened there to put Traylon above Isaiah?
Probably knowing the protections a little bit better. It was all about protection. Running backs have to be able to protect the quarterback. And that was something that obviously Isaiah, coming out of JC, wasn't asked to do a lot of that, okay? But Trayvon was. He knew that system. He knew the protection. So that's basically what happened for him. But, I mean, he's still a big part of it. He's a young guy. And look, it's like the freshman guys. JC guys are similar. They sometimes hit a wall or things, every week they were changing some things and they hit this wall. I thought you saw it in Brandon Ayuk. But then you watch in this game and now you see the guy again. You go, okay, he got through it, where he made a wonderful catch on the hook route. It was fantastic. I was standing right there when he caught it. He was covered with his hands, and he looked like the guy that we had recruited. You could see his confidence. I thought it came in the game where he actually caught the one on Michigan State down the bound. Oh no, it was Michigan State. I forget. It was Michigan State where he caught the ball going down the boundary and he was out of bounds when he jumped up over the guy and caught it. I thought that showed me something. It was like, okay, he's starting to figure this thing out. And this game, I thought, gave him a lot of confidence as well. So 31, he'll be part of the offense.
Coach, in light of Nikhil's incident a few weeks ago, is there a motion to still have former football players on the field?
You said the incident that?
Yeah, he seemed to have like a little argument with a former football player at ASU on the sideline.
Oh, I didn't see that. That was probably on the bench side or something. I don't know. There's nothing I can do about that. I just think words are always said in the football field on the sidelines. You never know what you're going to hear. Heard a lot of things. Amazing. But, yes, sir.
Anyone else?
Right here.
You probably got to ask this after the game, but how much debate did you have in your mind about whether to punt or not at the end?
Well, here was the call. The call was this, is that if we would have hit a play, if we'd have skirted through, we're on 21, we got the ball on 21. If we would have got it out to about the 35 or so in two plays, then we would have opened it up. But at that point, we didn't. And people say, why didn't you go back and throw a pass? I said, because we're playing the game right now, and you get a certain feeling. And we discussed it. Say, what do you want to say, Coach? Let's we've been running about 4 yards, and we felt pretty good running the ball. Maybe we can squeeze one in there and hit one and break it out and get out to the 30, and then we could be more aggressive with it. But at that point, we didn't, and we just said, okay, we'll punt and get out of here, and we'll play to the second half, and see what happens, because we were going to get the ball in the third quarter again. And we've been pretty fortunate to get the ball in the third quarter. And I think that sometimes you look at games and you make decisions, and, look, you can always second-guess the decision, but, I just feel like when you feel the game in your belly as a coach, and you look at the series prior to all those things and what has just transpired, you go, okay, how do you want to leave this? Or what are you going to attempt to do? And so if we'd have busted one out, hey, we might have went back and started chucking it. But we weren't making a lot of explosive plays in the passing game, guys. If you watch the game and you think like all of a sudden they're going to sit there with a minute and 20 going, they're going to give us one? And here's the problem. What if you turn it over? Then I would be answering the question, well, Coach, why did you do that? The game was right where you wanted it. You're going to get it in the third quarter. Why would you go back there and get a tip pass and get it intercepted? I mean, there's a bad outcome, too. It's just – and so I don't think negative. I always think positive. But I always feel like I got to think for the team and where we're at emotionally and where the game's at. And for me, it was like, trust me, I thought about it. Should we go? In the conversations I had with the offensive coaches and even the defensive coaches, I went, and I said, well, let's see if we bust one. If we get one out, make a nice big gain or 8-9 yard gain, we're going. We're going to roll. Yeah, that wasn't the case. So. Oh, fourth quarter, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, because we had all the timeouts. You know, so it almost worked out perfect. I mean, really, because we kicked off knowing, and we talked about it. I'm sorry, I didn't know you were talking before. So that was a discussion. Do we onside or do we not? And the way they were playing, they had a 4th and 1 and didn't go for it and took a delay. And I went, okay. So that told me something. That was, you know, they took a delay and punted. And I thought, that would be, I actually thought they were going to go for it. They didn't. Coach didn't. He said, and, you know, coach way more college football games than I am. He knows his team better than anybody. So he punted. So I went, okay. That meant, yeah, okay, kind of respecting our defense a little bit. Doesn't want to give us field position. And so that's a decision to make. You onside kick it. What's the odds of you getting it? I don't know. They got a short field. Got a pretty good field goal kicker, by the way. And I'm going, if we don't get it, now we're really in trouble. Because if they move it any, they're going to kick a field goal. If they're going to kick a field goal, make them go long. But now I got them backed up, knowing they're going to get it on the 25, and I got 3 timeouts. And I go, all we got to do is hold them. And it almost worked. Guy makes a great catch. If not, we get the ball back. You know, that's why I saved the timeouts. I said, let's kick it deep. And I said, we got 3 timeouts, and we'll hold them. Because they're going to be conservative, too, by the way, because they're backed up. They don't want to mess around and turn the ball over. And I'm figuring they're going to run the ball. He's going to make me use my timeouts, and he's going to run the ball. And then they helped me on 3rd down by throwing it and going, oh, man. You know, but they completed it, and so that's kind of how it works. Okay, thank you.